everyone, welcome back. It's Hope with Living with Hope, and today I wanted to share the story of our daughter Naomi. Now our daughter Naomi was stillborn about 2 years ago, and right after she died I found a few videos on YouTube of other families that had already experienced what we were walking through, and I found some encouragement in those videos, mainly knowing that there are other families out there that have gone through what we have gone through and have survived. And so I thought about sharing our story shortly after she died, but I really wasn't in a good place. I think I would have just spent the majority of time on camera crying. But I feel like I can share it today and be okay. So I'll go ahead and just get started and kind of just share a little bit about my pregnancy with her, how we found out she died, and kind of the months following her death. So I found out for the first time that I was pregnant July 2014, July 11th to be exact. My husband and I had been married for 1 year at the time, and when I found out I was over the moon excited. I've always dreamt of being a mom, and now this was going to be a reality for me. Our first appointment, my first OB appointment was at 8 weeks. I was 8 weeks and 1 day pregnant when we saw our little baby for the first time, and she had the most beautiful heartbeat. It was high, it was about in the 150s. Our next appointment following was at 12 weeks. And again, everything looked great. She had a perfect heartbeat. It was high again, 150s, 160s. And our following appointment was at 18 weeks, which was in October of 2014. And this appointment was our anatomy scan. And everything checked out. It was, again, another great appointment. She had a good heartbeat. Everything looked perfect. There were no concerns or issues that we were made aware of. And we found out the gender. We were told the gender on a piece of paper, but we didn't find out until my appointment was on a Monday. We found out that weekend. We had a little gender reveal party for her, and I'm so thankful we did. That was really the only party that we will ever get to throw for her. We won't get to do birthday parties for her, or like a bridal shower or anything like that. So I'm really thankful that we chose to do a gender reveal party, and my husband and I did not know the gender at our party, so it was a big surprise for us. But I had just, I guess, mother's intuition. I had a feeling that our baby was a girl, and we already had a name picked out, and so we announced her name at her party, and her name is Naomi Joy. Naomi is Hebrew for pleasant. And I just have always thought Naomi Joy together was really beautiful, and my husband has a sister named Joy, so it was just like perfect. It was also a family name and just a name that I also really loved. So my next appointment, I had one at 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 18 weeks, and my next one was at 22 weeks. This appointment was the last appointment that we heard her heartbeat. We went in. My doctor used the heart Doppler, and perfect heartbeat again, and he said, "You're doing great, keep doing what you're doing, and we'll see you in 4 weeks." And I said, "Great, okay." Now, a few things. I feel like I am relatively an easy pregnant woman. And what I mean by that is I don't have really intense symptoms. I've never really had intense morning sickness where I'm like over the toilet vomiting. Now with Naomi, I had a little bit of like, I feel a little queasy, but nothing like super serious. I did have some headaches. I did have some mood swings because of hormones, of course. But other than that, I felt really good. I felt very, very thankful that I felt so good. And I also had an anterior placenta, meaning that my placenta had attached to my uterus, like right where my belly button's at. So It would be like my belly button, my placenta, and then baby was behind my placenta. So if baby was moving around, if she was in there moving around, I wasn't feeling a whole lot. And so my doctor had told me that because of the way my placenta was positioned, it may take a little bit longer for me to feel movement. And I was like, okay, that's, you know, like, this is my first time being pregnant. Everything's new. I wasn't worried or concerned. I never had any cramping. I never had any bleeding, nothing like that. So at 22 weeks, we heard our heartbeat. We were told everything looks great. We'll see you in 4 weeks. We went back in on December 10th, 2014 for a routine appointment. And my doctor again had used the heart Doppler, and he could not find the heartbeat on the heart Doppler, and so he wheeled in a little like mobile ultrasound machine, and he was using his little scanner over my belly trying to find a heartbeat, and I knew right then and there something was not right. He wasn't saying anything, and that's usually, I feel like, a sign that there's something wrong. He had asked me if I had been leaking any fluid, and I said no right away. He said, you would know if you were leaking. I said, okay, well, I haven't been leaking, and if I had, it's been a very, very slow leak to where I maybe mistook it for discharge, or maybe even a little bit of urine after using the restroom or something. But I was not leaking as far as I know, because he had told me I had no fluid left. And he then proceeded to tell us that he was really sorry and he couldn't find a heartbeat, and of course we were devastated. Our whole world was just completely turned upside down. Here we had been spending the last 6 months dreaming and planning for this baby. And we were just told that we would not be getting to bring her home. So my next concern was, okay, she's not alive in my womb. How are we going to get her out? So I was induced the next morning. We packed up our hospital bags with just like simple, overnight stuff, and went to the hospital the next morning on December 11th, 2014. And I was induced just with like a tablet. I don't know what it's called, but it was put up in my cervix, and it helped my cervix dilate. We were told that it could take up to 24 hours. And the thought of that was really overwhelming. I was not mentally prepared for labor. Thankfully, it only lasted 9 hours. My body reacted to the medication very well. And also because I was not full term, I was 26 weeks pregnant when we found out we lost Naomi. So because of that, I did not need to dilate the full 10 centimeters. I think I only needed to dilate 6. So around 11 p.m. that night, I think we started the induction at 2:30 in the afternoon. And so by 11 o'clock that night, I was ready to push. And thankfully that didn't take very long either. So right before midnight, my daughter was delivered. And she had no fluid at all. They took my placenta down to pathology to just run some tests to see if they could figure out what was going on. The cord was not wrapped around her, so we know that she did not pass away from a cord accident. And so the next 24 hours following, I was sent to recovery, and we got to spend the next 24 hours with our daughter.